Oh, good morning, everybody. If you're seeing me, we're trying to stream remotely here again. We are going to talk about Beryl. If you're just tuning in, Beryl, Beryl, Beryl has made landfall in the northern tip of the Yucatan. It intensified last second as the models predicted, and we are likely going to see a hurricane into Texas at the bare minimum in the next couple days. We're going to go over all the latest models, trying to get everybody up to speed on things. I'm trying to get my chat working. Man, I'm not even worried about the chat today. I don't want to risk it with too many windows open, so no chat, so I can't see anybody. But we're going to get right into the nitty gritty here. Hope you had a great 4th of July. We sure did. Had our shrimp boil last night, which was great. Got to see some fireworks, which was great. Gonna hit the pool here in a little bit. I got some graphics to show you about Beryl. So we're gonna talk about Beryl. So I'm coming to you remotely today, so bear with me. Our normal setup. But thanks to Starlink, we're good to go for sure. I hope everybody's having a great day and had a great holiday. If you just tuned back in, we're going to talk about that little guy right there. That's Beryl. Beryl. The reports in the ground were not that bad yet. Maybe it hit a unpopulated area just south of Cancun and Cozumel there. But I haven't really looked deep yet. But that's what it looks like this morning. We got a system going over the tip of the Yucatan, and it's going to strengthen in the Gulf of Mexico. Everything's playing out like kind of thought it would. Unfortunately, this thing has been tugging to the north, riding that high pressure that's getting broke down on the Gulf side, Florida side, and that's where we're at. That's what it looks like. So it's going to weaken over land, guaranteed. It's going to weaken some today. But what happens on the other side? This is what it looks like. So it's elongated a little bit. This is your 850 millibar. But these Cape Verde seeds, as I call them, we'll see. But they're tricky. Seen it over the years a bazillion times. When they come off of Africa and they already have a spin to them, this one had a spin underneath Cape Verde. And it's been resilient, and it bounced back twice yesterday. All that shear that was supposed to tear it apart never happened. And it baffled everybody. Because everybody expected it to not do what it did. And it came back. So that kind of means it's going to come back in the Gulf. Not being hype or nothing. I'm just saying. Storms that have a way. And it's over a very flatter part of the Yucatan there. So it's going to weaken, but we're going to see where it's going to go. Texas should be paying attention. Very close. And believe it or not, you know who's in the cone? The outer edges of Louisiana. As this thing bends around. Alright, here's some of the latest. This is what it looks like now. A little bump to the north in the last advisory, 8 o'clock advisory. Like I said, don't listen to the news when they say downgraded. Say that 10 times fast. By the way, Shelly is our admin. She is in Orlando at her son's competition. I'm in Auburndale at my favorite place, our family's favorite place, Margaritaville. So we're doing this remotely, so bear with us. Be back home maybe tomorrow. I think I'm going to be back home tomorrow. But there's where it's at. You can see where it passed through the day or last night. It's kind of bumped up a little bit. So I like these tracks here. It kind of gives you an idea where it's at, where it's supposed to be. Maybe we're seeing a little turn to the north a little bit. Supposed to be here. here, went a little north. So they don't do recon missions over land. So we'll be relying on satellite imagery and kind of watching it that way. So there's that. There's where it's at. We'll widen it out. Kind of give you, it did hit the tip of the Yucatan. Didn't go far south. Some of the models predicted, and it's going to make that slow turn, unfortunately. And it's going to have a good 2 to 2.5 days over water. Conditions don't look that bad. I think the one thing I'm more concerned about it than anything is the last second re-strengthening as this thing approaches the coast. We saw it with Sally a lot, or talked about that a lot. We saw it with Sally, but we talked about that a lot. Is the last second strengthening, and if this thing makes a little bit more of a turn, it's going to have more time. That could be bad. A little more time over water. So when you're looking at this cone, it's important to note that two things. I know it's like a broken record if you're listening to me all the time. The cone, and actually it's not, because I had people asking me this morning. The cone is where the center of the storm can go, okay? You're going to see effects way outside the cone. All right? This is just where the eye can go. So if we have a system that, let's say, is here, we're going to have storms that are actually, sending feeder bands way off on the east side. Everything on storms like this, the northeast quadrant is the strongest. Right side of the storm is the strongest, the most rain, the most feeder bands coming in, the most surge. You'll get effects on the south side, but not as much, because these storms now have to wrap around and they don't have much fuel over land, so it takes time. Once they, so these bands here really have more opportunity to intensify on their approach to land. Here's another way we look at it, zoom.earth, and it kind of showed that fixed point here a little bit. So it's, it's going a little more north than what it's supposed to be right now. That's where it's at. That's where it should have been. So we'll, that can have big implications on how far north this thing goes in the Gulf of Mexico. Always been expected to do this, wrap around that high pressure system, and I've showed a bazillion times. The Euro, almighty Euro, let me down. It failed. It didn't see this turn. Why you take a blend of models. You have to throw some common sense in there along the way. Here's the latest NHC track. We got a new one coming out at 10 o'clock East, or 10 o'clock Central, which is important now because this is the Central Daylight Time storm. So 10 o'clock for you, 11 o'clock Eastern. We'll see a new track update. Probably another little tick to the north, I would think. Intensity went up to 85 now. They're expecting this thing to be intensifying on approach to land. No more 75, 85. So you see the trend now a little stronger. Inland effects. We talked about this before, but a developing, deepening hurricane approaching land takes longer to weaken over land. So you can't focus on landfall, especially on a deepening, developing system like this. So there will be effects inland a little bit more than on a system that might be weakening on approach. Oh, Emily's here? My daughter's home. We're going to let Emily in. You'll probably hear chaos. So I told her to let us know when she... But the only good news that's pretty certain is we don't have a blocking high pressure to the north. So this thing is going to round the high pressure that we're seeing over here in the Gulf of Mexico. So if you're worried about a Harvey type of situation, we are going to see double-digit rains. I'm going to show you some graphics, but this thing is going to be riding along this high pressure, and there's really nothing that's going to block it. So it is going to continue on upwards, bend a little bit with that front. Hey. Well, Emily made it back home. She went all the way to St. Pete and back. Got lost. Made it home. So, by the way, you're in the camera, so make sure you keep your Make sure, make sure you keep clothes on. She usually walks around naked. No, she doesn't. But anyway, this thing's not going to stall. But there's the latest. So we got a new track here in a couple, about an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll see what it says. It's that strengthening. You know, yesterday I did a graphic showing you most models are showing a 10 millibar drop, maybe 20. We got to worry about is this thing strengthening in these 2.5 days over water. The conditions don't look that bad. As far as favorable conditions, high pressure to the above. Could have a little window to develop here and be a little sneaky here on approach. Here's the winds. This is a cool graphic the National Hurricane Center has showing you when you might see tropical storm force winds. And by the way, everybody, listen, we're normally pretty intimate. I usually talk to everybody. We look at comments. Not today. I don't have them up. Apologize. We're just getting to the nitty gritty. Remotely here, give you the latest. But this is a good graphic. All this stuff's on my website too, by the way. Mike's weather page, spaghettimodels.com. 2 T's. Sunday 8 a.m. is when we can start seeing tropical storm force winds. Tomorrow. What, today's Saturday? Today Friday? 2 days. Today is Friday. Yes. 2 days. So that's important. You know, if you're prepping along the coast. And that's because the feeder bands spin around. Even though the center is going to be, down here somewhere, you're going to start seeing tropical storm force winds as early as Sunday morning, and that's all the way to Louisiana. We're talking about Louisiana from the get-go. These things are going to be whipping some feeder bands around, and you're going to see the effects of this Sunday morning. So if you're going to prep, today and Saturday is your day. I would be preparing for a little bit stronger, maybe. Always been talking about it possible too. Here's your wind map. Kind of cool. I got this linked on my site too. This kind of just gives you an idea where it was at earlier this morning. It's obviously over land now, but doesn't have as much land interaction today, so that's going to be a big thing to watch. I got a map here. Let me show you. Here's the land map found right before we went live. This kind of shows you the highest parts of the Yucatan. Now, if this thing would have went down there close to Belize and crossed, there's a lot of high terrain. Lower level circulation, your clouds would get disrupted by this large terrain and basically break apart your center. Your center would remain at the higher levels, but it would take time for it to redevelop on the lower levels. Well, when this thing's crossing up here, there's a high likelihood that we're not going to lose that low level circulation. When it plops on out on the other side, it might have more chances to intensify quicker. So it's going to miss these high mountains south. That was why I have that up. Since this popped up, let's talk about worst case scenarios. These are your higher resolution hurricane models. These are on tropicaltidbits.com. So you got your new HAFS models. You got the HMON and you got the HWRF. HWRF, man, it's been doing really good. Unfortunately, it's showing 962 millibar. That's a real possibility. That would be Cat 3 maybe. I don't know if the winds catch up. But possibility, last second intensification happens. This thing's going to have 2+ days over water. HMON a little less, 987. That'd be pretty strong Cat 1 maybe, I will zoom in a little more, but the important thing to note here is they're all pretty much showing Texas. They're all showing Hurricane Plus. Okay, so that confidence is definitely increasing. Here are your latest spaghetti models. Now let's hit the refresh button because we just got new ones out. Drum roll, coffee time. Hunter had a bad night, did she tell you? Hunter had one of his asthma attacks last night. This finger went in places I never dreamed last night. Benadryl. But he's doing good now. All right, so here we go. Drum roll. This is 6Z's models. 12Z just came out. I haven't seen them yet. Let's hit the refresh. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Not one model is showing Mexico right now. Saying, Taylor, y'all watching at Lowe's? I'm telling you, man. There you go. It's curving. It's hooking. It's on approach. There's your latest. These just came out 12Z. You notice a trend. Trends are your friends. Euro failed miserably on this model, and I'm telling you why. It's because the Euro failed on intensity. The Euro was basing its track on a weak system going west. This tells you right there, man, it's important to look at all models. And that one graphic that I share all the time, I'll show you with Brian Tang's website, the HMON has done very well. We had a lot of jello shots. All right, there's the latest. All right, intensity models. 12Z coming in. Oh man, a couple of them a little higher, but most of them are Cat 1. So these are good sometimes. I don't know. I usually don't show them over the years. I think, you know, guaranteed we're going to see a hurricane. It's just, I still think we could possibly see a little more. Gulf systems are sneaky. We know it. Gulf water temps are, you know, always warm. There's loop currents, loop eddies. So yeah, don't turn your back on this little guy. As far as winds go, it's gonna have 2.5 days over water. Here's your latest spaghetti plots. Let's see if there's a 6Z out yet. Not yet. This is fine. All right. These are on weathernerds.org. There's your trends of the Euro. Obviously, completely different than it was a couple days ago. Important thing to note, though, with the Euro is look at these reds right here. This is what you got to worry about. Two things. Talking about it all the whole time. So this area right here on approach, showing you a strengthening system. You know, strengthening system likely going to pull a little more to the north. Okay, they punch that gap. They have a natural. They want to go north. They find these weaknesses better than weaker systems do. So everything we, you know, history tells us has been happening. This thing has been riding more north because it's stronger. Stronger systems want to go north, and if there's a weakness, they're going to find it. There's no high pressure blocking this thing from going more north. So that's a real possibility. This thing's going to have a little more time over the Gulf, possibly central northern parts of Texas, even Louisiana could see some effects. Remember, the right side of the cone for the storm is bad. Surge. It's because Louisiana's not in the cone right now. This thing shifts a little bit. You're going to see surge. You're going to see tornadoes, and you're going to see heavy rains. And heavy rains inland. I'm going to show you a rain map. This thing's going to have some tricky rains. How are the fireworks? Yeah. Why? You get to see them all? Okay. Okay. All right, so let's look at some other goody stuff. Here's the latest GFS, which shows you the track. GFS did pretty good with this model, I will admit. So pretty good confidence here. This thing's turning in the Gulf, going north. Some other stuff we can look at. All right, well, conditions ahead. Well, there is going to be a high pressure to the north. It's going to be entering a lowering shear ahead. I know it's a hard map to see, but shear is being reduced out in front, so when it plops on through the other side, it's going to have a window here of less wind shear, and then definitely it looks like this is going to move out. We're going to have less wind shear as it approaches the coast. So conditions are not that bad for intensification right now. So, you know, these are things I look at. Everybody looks at these. Probably hard to see. But anyway, conditions ahead don't look that bad. Here's one idea of rains. Okay, now listen. Like my buddy Justin. Justin Danger, you listening? Listen. Did you know? Depending on the actual track, this is not final. But what is guaranteed is obviously look at all that rain to the right of the blob there, right? Very little to the south, everything to the right. But what we are going to see, and you see this in tropical systems, these don't get picked up by your apps that show like general rainfall averages. We're going to see pockets of rain like this that are double digits. Anything in purple, uh, upwards to 18 inches on the Euro. So you will see some heavy rains from this system. And it's going to curve, and it's going to continue to bring those rains possibly up into even Arkansas, north of Louisiana there. So if this thing, obviously if the shift tracks a little bit, then the rains shift with it. But this just kind of gives you that idea. Somebody will see double-digit rains. Tornado threats are always big. Storm Prediction Center ain't showing it. And one thing I learned over the years too, Storm Prediction Center doesn't show this until last second. We will see, guaranteed, we will see yellow where this thing decides to make landfall. So again, these are your worst case scenarios. We're going to run them one by one here in a second. We'll do that right now with tropical tidbits. So we kind of got an idea of the track. Let's look at the intensity models. These are the ones that I'm more in tune with. So we're going to worry about the exit, and we're going to worry about the what it does after the exit. So let's say it exits at 991. This is the H wharf. We're going to see this thing try to develop in the days ahead. And 978, 71, 60s. You can see 962. So no matter what, we're talking almost a 30 millibar drop. That is about worst case scenario. That's almost rapid intensification. Almost. If it exits at 991 or whatever it exits at, it's predicting almost a 30 millibar drop in those 2.5 days. So that would be, pretty intense winds. I got some more graphics to show you what kind of winds that would be, but I'm more curious here. This is what's been working for us here all this Beryl time. But here's H halves A. These are on tropical tidbits, by the way. Exit at 1001, and it drops it about 969, 964. See that last second? This is real. I mean, this is like last second intensification here. 1001 exit 960. So it's predicting even more. So let's just say 30 millibar drop on the halves A too. So don't get caught up on the news today when this thing comes out looking all raggedy and everybody says it's downgraded, because you can't turn your back. It's a holiday weekend. One thing, talking to people over the years, I've noticed, especially last year, talking more and more to people, when they see an initial forecast, they usually just never go back and look again. A lot of people saw Michael was only going to be a tropical storm when it hit the Panhandle. They just turned off the news. Trust me. Heard that. People from Ian saw the forecast going to hit the Panhandle, turned their back. So this is going to be one of these storms, I think. It's going to be sneaky. I don't know if it's going to be that strong or not. That's some pretty aggressive strengthening, but nonetheless. Let's see, HMON, probably a little less aggressive. Let's see, HMON is exiting at 999, and it's going to 982. A little more reasonable, but still 15 millibar drop. 982 millibars, still pretty strong little system. All right, let's just show you how the Euro's changed a little bit. Remember, the Euro was actually cool. Well, let's just look at a couple more, and then we'll look. Here's the Euro 999 exit, and it brings it to, it stops. That's a 988, 987. Well, it actually ran a little longer. It wasn't loading. 988. So it drops at about 12. But again, I don't think the Euro's ever been a good intensity model. Let's just stick to that. Tracks are just, we got our good old spaghetti models. Spaghetti models are your friends, and they are showing this. These just came out. 12Z run, and there they are. There you go. I guess a couple takeaways is we really don't see any curving into Louisiana. Obviously, the Euro ensembles are a good tool to use. It's pretty pretty solid. This thing is going to react to that weakness and slow a little bit and turn. It's that last 48 hours to 72 hours is going to be really interesting to watch. We got a water temperatures aren't like too out of control, but we do have. Let's see what live water temp in this page. Oh, this might be a graph. I don't want to. Let's see, water temp data. Oh, weather US. Oh, that was something. Let's see. Bay News 9 graphics. I mean, it's real important to note probably more ocean heat content than anything, but you know, there's your water temps. We really had to see the upwelling too, by the way, that we were so far that we thought we were going to see. A lot of people thought, including me, that we would see a huge satellite change with Beryl, but we really haven't seen that. The theory is that there's so much warm ocean heat content that water finds a way to even out. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's 84, 83. Not the hottest here, but it's hot. Here's your ocean heat content maps. Use a lot. Trying to load. I gotta be slow. I don't want to crash my laptop. Trying to load. Here we go. Close some windows. Ocean heat content map loading. Here we go. Kind of gives you kind of what happened with Beryl. You can see the ocean heat content very warm. This is how hot the water is below the surface. Remember the little comparison I did last week when we saw that Invest absolutely going to town there in the Western Caribbean, even though it didn't have any spin. We saw that huge convection, and we noted that if Beryl made it over to that, it would have that same sort of environment, and it did, and that's what kept Beryl pushing through that shear yesterday, and you know, defied science basically, and stuck together. But the ocean heat content isn't as great in the Gulf. Now, this is a cool map here to show you too. Water temperatures have cooled a little bit thanks to Alberto, thanks to Chris, thanks to Invest. Off water. Come here, we haven't shown a dog yet. You want to be famous? Come here. Hi, everybody. I didn't do good yesterday. I was not feeling very good. What are you laughing at? Huh? Why? What? What? No. Hi, everybody. We have the only Frenchie that purrs. But anyway, the water temperatures are normal. White is normal. A little blue is a little cooler than normal. But look at where it's red. Look at that Texas coastline. That's why we're going to see this last second possible spin up. One of the reasons. Another reason is these loop currents. Let me show you. Where the heck are they? Oh my god. I don't even remember. Right here. I got this great site that I don't even know how to navigate. A purring Frenchie Bob, yep. Anyway, here's that loop current. So unfortunately, when this thing plops off of Yucatan, it's going to have these warm waters here north part of the Gulf. These are spinning ocean currents that are warm. This is warm water. So it'll be pretty much going over that, and that'll be fueling these thunderstorms and helping them mature quicker. So that's when we start worrying about this thing. Is not when it exits, but when it nears. That could almost be a poem. When it exits, when it nears. All right. All right, let's see what else we can look at. I want to look at some higher resolution stuff here. So let's look at this. All right, this is what it could look like. Worst case scenario. One of the worst cases. This is the H wharf. This would be timing. This would be overnight Sunday before morning on Monday. This would be Sunday night. So you would actually start to feel the effects of this thing coming in throughout the day on Sunday afternoon on approach. And big storms overnight. Looks like a morning landfall. This would be about daybreak, unfortunately. The sun comes up. That's the H Wharf. Winds, you can see 10 meter winds. Unfortunately, it's showing 90 knots. That's strong. One of the higher aggressive model that runs, but there you go. That would be daybreak on Monday morning in the H Wharf. See here, another model we can look at. By the way, Invest 96 is kind of fizzled, so we don't even have to worry about that. That one had way too much dry air. HMON done very well with track. Let's see how intensity is. HMON's been really good on track. Let's see who's been doing the best intensity. Everybody always asks me this. Finally ran across a website that shows this guidance right here. Hit guidance. This one here will tell you who's done the best on intensity. And our graphic here somewhere. Where is it? Oh man, where's my cheat sheet? Oh, we can make it small. Hang on. There we go. All right. Cool site, Brian Tang. I got it linked. This is amazing. So far, your best model so far looks like the purple one, which was H Wharf. Oh god, that's not. So your H Wharf was the best out, 120 hours. The H Wharf was almost the best. I don't know what model the orange chip is. I don't know. I have to do my homework on that one. But we're looking at purple. And purple was the best 4 days out. Purple was the best 3 days out. So there you go. You know how many times I've been called out over the years showing the H Wharf? Well, guess what? Guess what? It's a good model for intensity purposes. So thank you, Brian Tang, for that graphic. All right, and then your tracking model. They've been pretty good on the track. The worst has been the orange, which is the Canadian. All of them are pretty darn close. I guess 3 days. What are we looking at? 3 days out now? Your best modeling 3 days out has been Avno. I think that's your those are your GFS ensembles. So GFS has done really well with tracking this thing. H Wharf did pretty good on tracking 3 days out. H Wharf did good 2 days out. So H Wharf, man, they've been doing really good. HMON, not so. Actually, so really. 3 days out, man. The GFS ensembles and your H Wharf did very well with tracking. Wow. Props to GFS for that tracking. But anyway, HMON as far as I don't know what we're doing. But we saw the worst case scenario. Bottom line, yeah. Here's the HMON, same general area. So there you go. I don't know. Oh, what more we can look at? Here's radar, what it might look like. Obviously showing you these bands. Timing on the HMON would be Sunday. Start seeing bands Sunday all the way up to Louisiana. This is Sunday afternoon. Then obviously the intensity would be overnight Sunday night. We could be looking at an early morning Monday morning landfall. This thing goes a little more to the north, it would be a little later on Monday, but we're definitely looking at close to an early morning Monday landfall. Possibly before daybreak. It's on the HMON. And I don't know, man, the other model, everything's pretty close. I mean, we're really getting things. I mean, really, there's a little, the unknowns are getting less, honestly. Now we're just looking at the final track. And there's the halves A. That's kind of a worst case scenario. 115 knots. This is a little south of tracking, but still, man, that would be Monday morning right here. That's a massive storm right there. That's definitely the high end of the three. Notice 72 knots Sunday morning. Almost rapid intensification. So the HAS A, not a bad model. Showing you rapid intensification on the last day, Sunday to Monday. So that's a real possibility. The water temperatures, wind shear relaxing. Gonna have a little window of opportunity there to do something. So just prepare. I'm telling you, don't turn your back on this one. And I hope this is the last storm for a while, man. These long track storms are just, I don't know how long we've been tracking this thing, but it has been forever. Absolutely. But yeah, I would definitely say, I mean, you know, these models have done a really good job. Obviously, it ain't going far. It ain't going south. I don't think. I mean, the trend is definitely a weakening high pressure, and this thing's wrapping around it. That's seeing and talking about, and it's happening. There you go. I guess if we do look at the European ensembles, kind of showing you possibilities of this thing going a little more to the north here. Oh, there's the 6Z. There we go. That's what I've been waiting on. 6Z as the out. And just notice the red there. The last day of rapid intensifying system there. So that's what we're looking at. That's a possibility. And stronger is going to go a little more to the north, which means a little more daylight Monday. But definitely timing is Monday, early Monday morning. It's very consistent across all models right now. There's that. What do you think? But Crystal, the driving speed is definitely this high pressure to the north. Slow down. It's going to start slowing down. It's going to react to. It's going to start reacting to that weakness, turn a little bit. High pressures. See, now it's only 15. See these timestamps? They're a lot smaller now. So usually storms, when they react to turn, they slow down. They start to feel that steering. Strong high pressure that's been pushing it along is weakening, and it loses some of that push that it had so long. I mean, this was the Cat 5 that was going 22 miles an hour. Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. If you're curious on the steering, it's been pretty easy to see. It's fascinating to watch, but it's definitely textbook. Oh Lord, what happened there? Textbook. So we got weather up in Wisconsin. This little guy right here. This is a trough frontal line. You can see it on the surface charts too. I always go to my surface charts, and you can always see them. Surface charts tell everything. Right here. There's our front. Pretty strong little front. Stronger this front is, the more it was going to pick our system up. And guess what? It's winning. Sarah just texted me. Remember our little standing joke with Sarah when she texts me? Just a bunch of random letters. This is what she does. I haven't responded to her in a while. I'm a bad dad. But she just writes all these weird letters. Can't really spell, but I'll write her back. I just a bunch of mumble jumble here, and she'll be happy, and then she'll text me back. That's our weird way of communicating. It's like grunt. But here's that low pressure system creating this weakness, and guess what? We got this other little weird low pressure here, which I knew was going to be a big factor breaking down our high. This is pushing our high out of the way. There it is. Look at that gap. High pressure. Bye bye. And guess what? The euro was wrong. Now it's pulling it north. Found that gap. Two lows attract. Riding this ridge of high pressure system. Fascinating. Now, early in the runs, a long time ago, this is what we were looking at. You can see this big old high pressure dome. That's why it's so hot. I love the comments, people. When you live in, when you're a Florida native, you're allowed to say it's hot. I know it's summer, but you don't have to insult my intelligence. I know it's hot, but when a Florida native says it's hot, hotter than normal, it's hotter than normal. I'm not stupid. I know it's hot. I know it's summer, but it's hot. We had a high pressure over. My dad just told me he's 112 degrees heat index in Pinellas County yesterday. It's hot. He's 86. He can say it's hot too. But we've had this heat dome over the East Coast and the South, and that's what was driving our system. And it's fascinating, man. I just love this kind of stuff. But you know, it was rounding this high pressure. It was a strong high pressure Bermuda high. Story of the year. I'm telling you, first part of the year, we're going to see this a lot. Emily bought me a Pineapple Willie shirt. That's that noise. Oh, Hunter, you drinking water? So listen, it's going to have a day over land today. It's going to get beat up. It's not over the roughest part of the Yucatan though, so it'd be really curious. Remember, whatever it exits, 20 millibar drop, maybe 25, 30 worst case. We've seen a couple models showing almost rapid intensification on the last day. That would be Sunday morning to Monday morning. You know, everything that comes with that is surge. I mean, we could see some pretty big surge. We don't have any surge maps yet, but let me close the windows down. I don't know Ike enough. I'll be honest, I didn't study Hurricane Ike, but it was a 20-foot surge for Texas. It was a Cat 2. Every storm's different. Charlie was a Cat 4 and had very little surge compared to Ian, also a Cat 4. And these are all dependent upon NHC official forecasts. But some of these areas could definitely see pretty big surge if this thing strengthens as much as those intensity models have. I kind of have the worst case scenario here. If you look at surge potential factors everything in as far as the angle, you know, basically everything has to be lined up to create the worst case scenario. But we went to a Cat 2, you know, these would be the areas that start to see worst case scenarios, obviously. How do I lose my key up? I don't know how to lose this. But these are really useful maps to kind of give you an idea, areas that would see. And again, it's only forecast to be a Cat 1. This is Cat 2. But if you're really curious, it's right here on my page. It says surge potential. And most of that is the storm passing to your left. Most of the surge, rotating bands pushing. You still get the eye. You still get an eye surge. Once that impacts of the eye are over, most of that surge is off to the right side. It's also critical because of the winds. You almost get reverse surge. I don't know what the official word is. I call it reverse surge. But you actually get the water blown the other direction to the south of the storm. Let's look at some seas forecasts here. Oh, I need to. I need the page. Wrong page. I want models. Okay. All right, let's look at what the seas looks like. This is not surge. This is wave heights, but it's still kind of neat to look at because it gives you an idea where this at. Worst case, kind of where things are going to be bubbling. And a little thing about surge, too. Let me talk to you about it. Surge is surge. Ah, that epic. Then you add tide to surge. You get something called storm tide. But then you get waves on top of that. Something I didn't really think about over the years. The waves are not added into storms. So the waves are what really magnifies. Because you get the surge, then you get these waves that are driven by winds, and that's where you get these bursts of water. But wherever the core sets up, remember the Euro isn't showing a very strong system, but it's still showing 38-foot seas right here. This would be Sunday morning. And we can see increased seas all the way to Louisiana. Of course, you know, last second strengthening, even on the Euro, there's 49-foot seas. Now, this is not surge, man. Man. Can you say man without pissing somebody off? Now, I don't know. I don't know what to say sometimes. But that's a lot of waves out there in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's what drives the surge. But 49 foot, and the Euro ain't showing a very strong system right there, so you get an idea. It's gonna be a lot of seas. I mean, we got oil rigs out there, you got shipping. Obviously, they're taking note of this thing. Cruise lines will be affected. Crazy, right? And if this thing turns a little bit more, all these waves end up going a little bit more off to the. Man, the coffee ain't kicked in. I think I need a Red Bull. Ah. New moon, Greg. Yep. It is a new moon today. Today is a new moon. Church fan hot. Vanilla's hot, Brandy. Yep. I got my Brew Crew chat on, by the way. I don't have the other chats on because I don't have enough CPU power. But hope you all got a little information from our little daily brew. Appreciate you tuning in. Couple takeaways. Obviously, you know, we're looking at last second intensification. A lot of models are showing that last day, Sunday to Monday. Landfall would be Monday, early Monday morning, but effects will be late Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. It does not appear like it's heading to Mexico, so Texas definitely very confident this thing is heading your way. I'd still be worried a little bit to the north if this thing continues on that turn. You know, models do flip-flop. We can see it turn to the north and come right back, so it's basically things are pretty locked in central part, I think. If we see another bump off the northern part of the state, you know, we might see a little bump back. Now, if we see a bump back, then we might see a bump. So, you know, we get these little wiggles and wobbles, but as that trend keeps going, we'll expect to see a little trend back somewhere along the line. But this is where I always tell people, look at the outliers. We learned 3 days out with a lot of storms. The outliers sometimes end up being the ones that you worry about. So, going back to, you know, some of these outliers, going to weather nerds, continues to show a little bit more to the north, and the Euro ensembles are good now. But I tell you what, the GFS ensembles have remained very good as far as the tracking of this storm goes. Here's the latest GFS um, ensembles. So these would be the ones that I would pay extra close attention to. Would be the ones to the north. If we were to say outliers from the past, and if this thing gets beat up, it could weaken like some hope. Conditions out ahead appear favorable for this thing to try to develop. So, but that's it. Key points. Watch it exit. We got a new track update in about 30 minutes from National Hurricane Center. We'll see what they say. See if they bump it up to 90 mile an hour. Right now, officially, it's going to be 85 miles an hour. They conservatively bump up intensity, I've learned over the years. Don't turn your back northern part of Texas. Remember, the big effects are on the right side, so we're definitely going to see effects in Louisiana now with some surge and some quality feeder bands. There you go. Appreciate it. Remember, I got an app. If you want to see more, Mike's Weather page on Google and Android and Apple. We have a Brew Crew section here where you can support the page and get a lot of perks, so we appreciate that. PayPal, Stripe, Cat 1s, Cat 5s. Give a lot back to everybody for supporting what I do, and we actually have a little private chat room now that's pretty active with our supporters, so cool way to interact and get a little more and support us. But we will be live sometime tomorrow. We're going to head home probably if I go storm chasing. So we'll be live tomorrow sometime. I'm going to do a little quick reel. Everybody wish Mason good luck today in Orlando as Shelly and Steve are over there doing that. He's in a big competition today. We're thinking of them, and enjoy your day. It's going to be hot out there, so we're going to hit the pool. The pool here is about 100 degrees. Middle Florida is hot, but it's blue and it's crystal clear, so that's all that matters. All right, have a great day. I'm signing off. Cheers.